All right, so you're planning your career, you're trying to figure out what are the career stages in planning your career. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I have 3 phases of career development that'll help you succeed. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben Preston and I help professionals just like you build exciting careers and lead awesome teams. If you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. I have new videos on Tuesdays. And with that, let's get into the video. All right, so when you're developing your career, you could ask 10 different people what their plan is to develop their career and you will get 10 different answers. The real solution, there's not one way of developing your career, but in this video, I'm gonna give you 3 different phases that'll kind of help you contextualize and put into perspective how you can figure out how to navigate your career. So you can't get it wrong, don't worry. This video will at least hopefully shed some light on how you can do it, what are the methods and sort of the things that you should be thinking about when you're planning your career. And the key here, what we're really trying to do is not create a career by default. We want to be intentional about where we go. We want to be intentional about the decisions that we're making. And we really want to find a career that's exciting and fulfilling, because I think a lot of times professionals forget that even though it's called work, you're still able to have fun. And if you show up to work and you aren't having fun, then it's time to reassess what your career should look like. So with that, let's get into the 3 phases. So phase 1 is called investing. So you want to invest in yourself, you want to invest in your skill sets and your knowledge and the things that you know how to do. One way that you can do that is explore purpose. And when a lot of people think about purpose, they think of purpose as this big, one destination that we're going to reach. And the truth is your purpose is more of a feeling than it is a destination that you get to. So what you want to do instead of looking for your purpose, you want to figure out how to make today more purposeful. And that means doing things that are more exciting to you, doing things that are fun to you, and live your purpose today. And as you start doing more and more of that, you'll find that you'll kind of naturally gravitate toward the things that are more purposeful and make you feel more fulfilled in your role. So when you're looking at investing in yourself, kind of explore what your purpose is, what makes your life more purposeful in this moment today. Another thing that you want to do in this phase is really figure out what your competitive advantage is. So when I talk about competitive advantage, usually businesses look at how they are in the market, how they operate in the market as how are they getting one leg up over another competitor? What makes them have an edge that other people like to mimic? Apple's a really great example of this. There's a lot of people that mimic Apple, but nobody quite does it the way that they do, and that's their competitive advantage. So when you're in this phase of investing in yourself and kind of thinking out what you want to do, one of the things that you want to do to find that competitive advantage is make sure that you're looking at your strengths. What are the things that you're good at? What are the things that you take for granted? For me, for example, I love doing strategy work, business strategy, marketing strategy, figuring out how things work and how things connect together. That's not something that a lot of people are really good at, or it's not really even something that people are interested in. So when you're trying to look for your strengths, try to find those things that you naturally get really excited about, or that you really want to work hours and hours and hours on, and you don't really think about the time. Those are the types of things. And once you figure out your strengths, you can naturally put together, okay, I'm good at strategy, but what's my approach to strategy that makes it slightly different from someone else? And that's your competitive advantage. The last thing that you want to do in this phase is understand work. How does adversity play into your growth? How does diversity play into your growth? How do politics and influence and networking, how do those things play into your work? Is there something specific to the industry that you're interested in? Is there something specific to the function that you're interested in? What are the things that in your work, in your career, what are the things that are kind of the pullers or the things that are weighted a little more heavy over others? So for example, if you are in, let's just say, politics, your ability to influence others is going to be far more important than let's say your ability to calculate math. Just an example, you kind of need to know when you are in your function or in your industry or in your role or your chosen career, what are the things that are going to have the most weight when it comes to your success. So that's kind of phase 1. And a lot of this stuff, as you become a working professional, will become a lot easier to figure out once you kind of get more years of experience. If you're new and you don't know, let's say you're still in college or you're fresh into college, check out this video. I'm going to link to it below. Also, check out that video to help with kind of figuring out how to get started. because once you're in the career space, it's a lot easier to kind of figure out where you want to go. But that's phase one, so then let's get into phase two. Okay, so phase two is the growth phase. So once you figure out kind of the investment portion of what are the things that you are good at, what are the things that you want to do, what's your compass, your north compass, you know, like where is true north for you? Once you have that direction, you can kind of start thinking, okay, how am I going to grow my career in that direction? And the biggest thing in this phase is building up your soft skills and your technical skills. So when you think about moving into your role as you move up the mobility or career ladder, what you're really going to need to know is your technical abilities, which is, you know, some of the things like if you're a designer, one example of a technical ability would be, you know, being able to use Adobe Photoshop, like the technical things that you will need for your day-to-day job. You'll also need to know socially, how do you network or interact with people in your space? And then you need to know politically, how do you interact with people? So those are kind of the three spheres that you need for that, but really focusing on your soft skills, which would be considered sort of social skills, and then your technical skills, which are the things that you need to know for your role. In this phase also, you're really gonna wanna spend time sculpting your experience. A lot of times what happens when young professionals or just professionals in general, when they're in the career space and they're in the career planning space, a lot of times what they do is they'll look at the things that they don't like and they'll say, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And what they do typically is they'll do anything adverse to that. So they'll say, I don't want a micromanaging boss. So once they have a micromanaging boss, there's a lot of resistance or a lot of pull that happens against that manager. And so when I say sculpt your experience, there's always a positive way or an optimistic way to look at a situation, even if it's negative. So what you want to do in this phase is while you're growing your career, really focus on the things that you like or the things that you want in a career, and you'll naturally gravitate toward those as well. So let's take the micromanager example. If you've noticed that your manager is really micromanaging, the optimistic approach to that is, this is a temporary boss, this is a temporary situation. Really, I'm happy that my boss is engaged with what I'm doing. I'm sure that the reason that they want to know what I'm doing is because they want to be able to trust me. And so when you kind of take that shift, your resistance to them starts to soothe a little bit. And as you kind of view them, it might not, and again, there might not be the perfect boss. You don't need to, you know, eat glass and like it. But what you want to do is, instead of focusing on the negative aspects of them, you can focus on the things that you do enjoy about your work or your opportunities. And you'll maybe in a very short time, you won't be reporting to that person at all. And so instead of looking at things and constantly going head to head with the negative, try to find the things that you are interested in or the things that are exciting to you, and more opportunities will open up for you. And the last part of this growth phase is getting to the beginning steps of understanding the difference between leadership and management and the nuances that you can bring into your role from a leadership and managerial standpoint. A lot of people are, in my opinion, are more naturally gifted at leadership and management than they believe. When you first start out, you aren't obviously managing or leading a lot of formal, like you're not leading and managing in a formal capacity, but what you might be doing is you might be leading projects, you might be working with employees, you might be mentoring an intern, you might, you know, those type of things. So when you get into this space of career planning, you really want to make sure that you understand what you like doing as a leader, what you like doing as a manager, and what you would like to do in the future. Some people really just don't want to be managers and they don't want to be leaders and they just want to work on what they're working on. And that's completely fine. If you are getting fulfillment out of the stuff that you're working on, keep doing that. If there's something where you're looking at your career planning and you say, I want to be at this point and this point and this point, you really want to think about it in terms of instead of thinking about it in terms of formal job titles, because that gets a little bit weird, you can think about it in terms of, I am ready for this type of responsibility, I'm ready for this type of responsibility, I'm ready for this type of responsibility. So as you plan your career, you said, now that I've understood this, now that I understand that this is what I want to do, this is what I'm good at, let's say in the instance where we talked about strategy, I love doing strategy, I love doing the research, I love doing all that stuff. So I built up my technical capabilities, and now that I'm ready to scale or grow my career, what I can say is I love being able to not only do this strategy, but now I want to take on that additional ability to help other people take on strategy and to help other people build around the strategies and things that I've done. So not only do I want to build out the strategy, but I also want to lead the team that's now executing the strategy, because that's a totally different component of the strengths that you might have. So long way of saying, think about what level of responsibility you want in your career development in that growth phase. And phase 3 is accelerate. So you've done the work of figuring out what you want. You've gone through the next phase of saying, how am I going to grow what I want into something that's more tangible, more engaging. And now that you're in the space of understanding you know what you want and you're ready to take that next step, the third phase is accelerate. In the accelerate phase, you want to figure out what is the impact that you want to make in your career, either in your organization, in your career, in your function, in your industry. What is the impact that you want to make? And typically your impact will be the thing that brings you fulfillment, or it'll be the thing that you are really excited about thinking about. So for example, in the instance I was talking about with strategy, level 1 is I like doing strategy. The growth component is I like doing strategy, but I'd really love to lead a team. And then the third thing of accelerating my career would be I really like doing strategy. I love building this team of strategists around me. And now I want to take that and redo or reorganize the way that the market operates using our customer data, or using, think about what's the larger impact that you want to make. And if you don't know what that is yet, that's okay. But kind of in this phase, you can start exploring what are the impacts that I like. Do I want to work on something innovative? Do I want to be somebody who moves the industry forward? And as you were working on the past 2 phases, you really spent a lot of time organizing and moving yourself in the true north that we talked about with a compass. You've spent your time kind of figuring out what your true north is. And now that you've done the work and you're getting a lot more momentum, let that momentum carry you, kind of use it as a sail on your back, and so that you can push yourself forward, propel your career forward, and figure out, kind of explore and navigate where you want to go from there. And the nice thing about this phase, all 3 phases, it's a cycle. So now that you're in accelerate, you're more than likely going to find other components to your role, or other components to the things that you want to, your hobbies or your interests, other things that you haven't started. And this is always going to be the case. You're always going to have things that you're not good at, or that you want to start learning more about, or that you're interested in. And as you start doing that, you can begin the cycle again of investing in growth, and accelerate and investing in growth, and keep that cycle going. But you're able to use that momentum from one thing to another. So instead of just doing one strand, you're compounding and you're doing 30 or 40 things that you enjoy doing. And that keeps the excitement going, and it keeps the fun of your role going, which is then going to lead you to get more fulfillment out of your role. Yeah, and check out this video that I did about finding a career that you love, because I talk a lot about that and the power of momentum in that video. And that's it. Those are the 3 phases that I've outlined. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. I have new videos every Tuesday, so I will see you there.